Hello and welcome to yet another edition of FootBoleh 333 podcast. Today we are at our new location at Telok Blangah Heights. This is our court where we actually play soccer every Saturday in Singapore. And so if anyone wants to come and join us, you can join us. And as you can see with our attire, we just finished one session of football in the very, very hot sun. Alright, you can see I'm so dark. Him as well. He didn't play. Alright. So today I've got Dominic with me, and Natural Born Diva Dominic, and we've got the Wenger out, Haikal Syed.
Hey, what's up, Doc?
Today we are going to be talking about the Champions League. Alright, we are going to discuss the draw, and then we are also going to discuss the Europa League draw. Alright, very exciting draws, lots of games to look forward to. We are also discussing we are also going to have a discussion where we're going to interview someone and we're going to ask him whether he would rather play under Klopp or Mourinho. Alright, these two managers faced off last week, and unfortunately, Klopp was on the losing end, but he seems to be the better manager at the moment. I don't know, we shall see. And lastly, we will do the legend versus future legend. So for today's topic, I'll let you know more on who we are going to do for future legend. And lastly, we'll do the predictions. Right, so without further ado, let's begin. Champions League draw. Very, very, very exciting. We've got Liverpool versus Man City. I think by far that's the most exciting, right? Besides last year's finalists facing off again, Juve and Real Madrid. The rest of the games, it's more like David versus Goliath. We've got Sevilla against Bayern, right? And Roma against Barca. Alright, let's just talk about the Sevilla versus Bayern game. Let's talk about Sevilla. Sevilla knocked out Man U. Alright, a lot of this was really not expected. A lot of people who we interviewed last week, who were Manchester United fans after the Liverpool Man U game, they were so confident that Man U was going to beat Sevilla. Thoughts, Dom?
So, Sevilla accomplished something, just a small stat lah. So it's been 60 years since Sevilla first qualified for the round of 16. The 8 places now. And what happened was in the Sevilla match, I believe it was negative tactics by Mourinho. I think he was not prepared for Sevilla, and the game totally changed once Ben Yedder, who's already 28 this year, right?
Yeah.
A phenomenal player, extremely good finisher, and one of the best. Maybe one-on-ones he was doing well, but he was clinical. He scored when he mattered, and that really closed the game off. He almost scored 3. Sevilla were not able to hold him down. Steven Nzonzi was doing extremely well holding the midfield. He didn't even break a sweat. That's what they said. So Sevilla accomplished something that they have not done for a very long time, and Man U were on the losing end. Yep.
Alright, let's not talk more about Manchester United. Let's keep it for later. Sevilla did well. Let's talk about Bayern. Right? Bayern, I mean, imagine being a Bayern fan. Alright, no competition. There's no competition for you in the league. There's no competition in the DFB Pokal Cup. There's no competition in the group stage of the Champions League. Life only starts after the round of 16. Am I right? Am I right to say that, Haikal?
You're purposely asking me that question, right?
Being a Arsenal fan, yes, you might know much about this.
It's been a long time since we experienced quarterfinals, but we'll talk about that later. For Bayern, they're the favourites to win the whole thing. I mean, one of the favourites to win the whole thing. I would consider them as the favourites because the manager Jupp Heynckes came back. The last time he was the manager, they won the treble. So he knows. That's why I picked Bayern to win the Champions League. Whether they win the treble, I'm not too sure. But you mentioned that they've got no competition. Dortmund's not performing. Sevilla beating United. Alright, no one gave Sevilla a chance. I don't think you guys picked Sevilla. But if you were to put Sevilla against Bayern, Bayern's side that's been in the Champions League quarterfinal at least for the past few years, I don't think Sevilla has a chance. No disrespect, and great job on beating United, but I don't think they have a chance beating Bayern.
Alright, so Haikal has gone with prediction of Bayern. What about Dom?
For me, it will definitely be Bayern. I think Sevilla's exposure to the Champions League is very limited. So they may have won Manchester United, but if you see the group stages, they were having draws and they were winning through minor goals. But Manchester United gave them a lead which they secured. But when they face off Bayern, that will be the real test, and I don't think they're up to the test. Bayern has an abundance of players on their bench. They can throw anyone they want. Whoever's performing in the league, they quickly buy them, so they'll stop the competition. So Bayern is going to really run them down flat lah. So Sevilla is going to get a shock. Yep.
So speaking more about the abundance of players, if you look at the lineup for Bundesliga and the lineup for Champions League, it's almost totally two different lineups. You look at their forwards itself, they play Sandro Wagner for the Bundesliga and then they play Lewandowski for the Champions League. You know, they can afford this kind of changes. Alright, let's talk about the next game. Barca versus Roma. Barca is home first at the Camp Nou. Alright, Barca beat Chelsea, soundly beat Chelsea. I think it's fair to say that a lot of people were actually expecting that, given Chelsea's form, alright, and Conte's fall. Yeah, so did you not expect Barca to come out with a sound win?
For me, it was always going to be Barca. For Conte, I think the argument for Conte was that his Juventus team was performing very well, but I believe that it was actually Allegri who had the proper the tactician mentality rather than Conte. So Barca totally ran riot. Chelsea were not even prepared. They were not able to close the flanks down. Barca were playing a very good one-touch football and beating the offside trap. So when Roma is going to face them, okay, I could say that defensively they can match, but maybe they have a good keeper, which is Liverpool link Alisson for Roma. He is good, but Barca's attacking prospect will diminish their defensive capabilities. So I would say Barca is going to win against Roma.
Okay, so we've got Dom who's predicting Barca to win against Roma. I'm quite sure that Heikel is going to predict the same as well. But let's just talk about Roma coming back from a deficit in the first leg against Shakhtar and beating Shakhtar to come out eventual winners. Any chance against Barca?
No chance. Even you said it. I don't think there's a chance. I called it. Roma would actually go through rather than Shakhtar, although they were 2-1 down. They, even in the Italian Serie A, they were initially like catching up with Juventus and Napoli, but right now it doesn't seem so. Barcelona is another. Is same thing with Sevilla and Bayern Munich. I don't think so. Roma has it in them to beat the mighty Barcelona. They know what's needed to be done, although they've got a new manager, but it seems to be working. It was impressive against Chelsea. Like I said, they will win at Nou Camp. I'm going straight with Dom. Barcelona will win Roma.
Okay, so we've got two predictions for Barca. I mean, likewise earlier we had two predictions for Bayern. Let's move on to the next match. Let's talk about LFC versus Man U first. Man City. Sorry, not Man U, man. Sorry guys. Alright. David Schumacher. Alright, let's just talk about LFC versus Manchester City. Okay. Two of the most informed teams before Liverpool lost to Manchester United, yeah. So two of the most informed teams attacking wise in the Premier League right now, and the only other team to beat Man City besides Wigan. I don't know how that happened. Okay, but yeah, the only other team to beat Liverpool. So it's an exciting tie where we definitely see two teams with the chance of progressing. What do you think, Heikel? Man City or Liverpool? Two teams, take note, two teams that had very, very easy competition in the round of 16. They breezed through. Alright, so how? Liverpool or Man City?
Just checking. They haven't faced again they only faced once in the league already, right? Twice.
The first one was a
right.
City with the money red card.
All right.
And the second one was a 4-3.
Money red card. You know what? I think this one is. You guys would consider Man City as the favourites, right? Rather than Liverpool, being Liverpool fans. But I think this is the upset one. I think Liverpool might actually go through. I just have this feeling because they were unbeaten for a long time. And then I think even you guys said most that match will be a draw, but Liverpool actually came out with the win, 3-2. It was impressive, the tactics, the gegenpressing. I think Liverpool would actually win this one. I'm sorry, yes, Man City are the favourites, Liverpool are the underdogs. I'm going with Liverpool.
Alright, so we got one prediction for Liverpool, which is something that I did not expect. Dom, your thoughts?
I'm going to be a little bit biased here lah. So I think the downside of this draw was that Liverpool gets to play home first. I think there will be a higher chance of Liverpool winning if Liverpool were playing at home the second leg. But what I feel Liverpool will do is they will go for the goals the first leg and they will try to defend for the second leg. I mean, Man City definitely going to run riot, but I feel that Liverpool is going to show that they can do it, and I think they will go through. Yep.
That was a very big breath of air you took before you said that Liverpool is going to win.
Confident.
Alright, so we've got 2 picks again for Liverpool. So we've always had 2 picks. Let's see if the last one will sort things out. But before we move on, Liverpool, if I'm not mistaken, they've scored the most goals among all the quarterfinalists in the competition right now. Yeah, 28 goals. And they considered 6 goals, right? Is that the least? That's the least as well. So yeah, second least. Yeah, so you can see that actually Karius has been doing a good job. So I don't know. I mean, anything happen. This football. All right.
What's your pick?
Obviously Liverpool, man. I mean, I actually had Man City as a favourites to win the title, but the Champions League. But right now, after seeing them draw Liverpool, there might just be an upset. You might not know. Anything happen. Alright, let's just go with the last game. Okay, Juve versus Real Madrid. Juve is at home. Last season's finalists, both. Right, it's a rematch for last season's final. Juve beat Tottenham in a tough game where they drew the first game 2-2 at Turin, and then second game they beat Tottenham at Wembley itself. So it was a very good game for Juve. They controlled the game despite Davide Astori's passing, as well as having, for Real Madrid, alright, they did tremendously well to beat PSG, a Neymarless PSG, but they scored 5 goals in that tie itself. So your thoughts, guys? Juve or Real?
I don't know if you guys know this, but for the past few ties between 2-legged ties between Juve and Real Madrid, Juve won all of them.
Yeah. I wanted to say that.
Oh, sorry. Would this be the one, because Juve still has the league to concentrate, whereas Real Madrid, it's too far away. They can consolidate probably third or try to get second, which I think they would. I'm gonna go this time with Real Madrid instead of Juve, although the history doesn't look like it's going Real Madrid's way, because they can just focus on the Champions League, resting place in the league. Juventus still have to Napoli. Anything can happen, but I still think that Juve will win that Calcio title. So I'm gonna go with Real Madrid.
Alright. Well, you talking about history, just like how Jose Mourinho said yesterday, football heritage. Yeah, so looking by football heritage, Juve will actually win. Alright, your thoughts, Dom?
Okay, so like what Heike was saying, so Juventus have played Real Madrid in as long as it's not a final, it's been 3 rounds of, for example, quarter-final or semi-final. They have actually won in 3 games, but they only lost in the final. So they have a good record at the round of 8 or even 4. But the issue is Real Madrid has to make a statement right now, and I don't think they will win the title. Their Champions League is they are the defending Champions League holders, and for me to say this, I would be very positive that Real Madrid will actually push Juve to the loss. So I know that it is a legacy for Buffon, and this is his chance to win the title, but Real Madrid will go through. That's my prediction.
By the way, now we're gonna ask a Juventus fan.
Semi-Juventus fan. I'm just a Buffon fan. Yeah, but I do love Juve as well. Obviously, I am hoping for Liverpool versus Juve final, because that would mean anybody wins and I'm happy. But yeah, of course, that's just what a fan wishes. But for Juve, Real Madrid, I would love to see Juve beat Real Madrid. To be honest, they can because of the fact that defensively set up, they are better. Allegri is a better tactician than Conte. Alright, Conte had a Juve team, a strong Juve team with Pogba, but he was more attack-minded compared to like Allegri. Allegri is someone who is very tactical. He knows how to read the opponents and play, bar the final last season. Alright, if you look at the game against the semi-final against Barca, I think like what Heikel said, history favours Juve, and looking at that as well, Juve tend to do very well at two-legged ties. You look at Barca semi-final last year, they did very well. Alright, until they parked the bus with 6 defenders on the pitch. that was literally the meaning of park the bus. So yeah, I mean I favour Allegri on this one. Alright, so that's all with the Champions League. Before we move on to the Europa League, let's just say after yesterday's draw, who do you think is going to win the Champions League now?
I still pick Bayern.
I think it will be Man City.
Why pick Liverpool?
Yeah, but I think Man City will go through.
Tough call. I think I'm going to go with
Roma.
the one. Sorry, man. It could happen. They are dark horses, but I think I'm going to go with the team to win the Juve versus Real Madrid tie. Yeah, the team to win that will take.
You usually don't give a definitive answer, right?
No, I
Last
don't.
week you said whoever scores first wins the match. Now you said whoever wins Juve, Real Madrid. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, we are going to quickly talk about the Europa League. Draws were out yesterday. We have got Arsenal versus CSKA Moscow, Lazio versus FC Red Bull Salzburg, Atletico Madrid versus Sporting CP, and we've got Red Bull Leipzig against...
Red Bull wins.
I can't remember.
Who's the one more team I'm missing?
I can't remember.
Red Bull Leipzig against... Wait, let me check. Not against Atletico. Against Marseille. Yes, Marseille. Marseille is the one team that we're missing. Alright, so we got... I think that's the biggest match. Atletico Madrid is going to breeze through. If you got any objections, please say now. Atletico Madrid is going to breeze through. Lazio is going to breeze through now, as in this tie. And then we've got Arsenal is going to breeze through as well. So we've got the toughest side, which is Leipzig versus CSK. Leipzig versus Marseille. As you can see, it's raining now, so we're going to talk through the rain. Alright, quickly we're going to go through. Thoughts, guys? Who's going to win?
The whole tournament?
As in Leipzig versus Marseille.
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 Alright, so we got 2 picks for Marseille. We are going to go with one last prediction for the Europa League. Who's going to win the tournament itself? Are you going to say Arsenal?
No. This is how I think it'll turn out for Arsenal. They'll win this quarterfinal. They win the quarterfinal. They win the semi-final, but they lose the final, just like how they lost against Barcelona and Galatasaray. I think that's how it's going to turn out. Who's going to win? I think Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid will win.
No, I think he's having the same dilemma as me. As a Liverpool fan, like for Champions League, I want Liverpool to win, but maybe justice will go to Man City side. So
Justice for the 96.
justice for the 96. So for me, I think as a Arsenal fan, I would want Arsenal to show that they can progress through this Europa League, but Atletico will just trash horribly, so they will just destroy. So it's Atletico.
One last thing, they've been in the 2 Champions League finals recently, so they know.
True that. Well, if you were to ask me, nah. Atletico Madrid, man. Yeah, Atletico Madrid. It has to be, man. Alright, we are gonna move into the next section. Before we move into the legend versus future legend, we're gonna move into the next section where we have an interview with someone. Alright, we are going to do an interview with him, and we're going to ask the question whether he prefers to play with Klopp or Mourinho. 2 totally different managers, alright? Someone who Klopp, someone who is very passionate, very driven. I wouldn't say that Mourinho is not as passionate, but he doesn't show it. It's 2 different styles of managing, alright? So over here we have got Thiru Shevchenko. Well, we call him Thiru Shevchenko is because he plays with us, and he scores lots of goals, alright? Veteran. We call him a veteran. All right. Hi, Thiru.
Hi guys, nice to meet you.
All right. So, if you are thinking who Thiru is, actually one of the writers on FootBoleh as well. He has written the Recall Me article, and as well as the Paul Scholes article. You can see that all in the website. All right. And then we are going to talk to him about Klopp versus Mourinho. Thiru, your thoughts?
Okay, you're looking at two different managers, two different kinds of styles that they have to the approach to the game. While Mourinho is very much of a tactician and plans his teams to beat the opponent, whereas Klopp is someone who develops his team to be a team that runs on the same style for a long time.
Yeah.
So he brings in players to fit the system, to improve the system, and go in the long run. Whereas Mourinho's style, he takes on his team's next opponent and plans for that game ahead. Okay, and he has been quite successful with Chelsea, 2 stints, with Real Madrid, semi-successful, Inter Milan, bloody successful.
Yeah.
Okay, but a lot of his style goes on to say that he purchases a lot of players.
Yeah.
He gets the ones for his team.
Yeah.
So when Inter trailblazed through the Champions League and won the treble, pretty much all the other Italian teams were not in form, were going through transitions and etc. And this is the same thing. And he probably failed at Real Madrid because Barcelona at its full plump. That's the same thing about. Whereas when you look at Klopp, he's someone who broke the Bayern dominance, to be said.
Twice.
Okay, twice. And he's the one who developed some of the German talents that you see on, like Mario Götze and Lewandowski, which was Polish. Okay, so when Klopp took over by Dortmund, over the time he has developed a lot of talents, a lot of players. And Lewandowski initially was playing as the second striker behind Lucas Barrios in the first season, and he developed him to become the top striker. And Lewandowski is right now one of the top strikers in the entire world. And Bayern has the benefit of that. And he just recently scored his 100th goal for Bayern. Yeah. So, that explains a lot about talent and development. Whereas Mourinho does not have a history of giving chances to younger players over time. And I think the exception would be Scott McTominay, which is quite rare for being a manager from Porto to Chelsea and etc. for a long period. Not many young talents have gone through his time as a manager. So if you ask me a choice, who would I play for? I would rather play under Klopp.
Why?
Passion, long-term outlook, aspect, and the way that he communicates with the players, you can see it on the pitch. Right? Mourinho seems to be too strict, like a discipline master. Yeah. But unfortunately, it's not how the generation works right now. You got to develop your talent. You got to give them everything to become a top player. Yes, Marcus Rashford. Let's see what happens with him. Martial. Off the radar, back in, off the radar, back in. That's how it's happening. Right? Mourinho tends to not have much trust on younger players. Yeah. So he's more of a technician, a tactician who believes in a system, and he wants the system to work well. Unfortunately, he got it wrong against Seville by swapping Sanchez and Rashford. Yeah. And that was something that he took a gamble, but it didn't pay off. Yep.
Right. Okay. So we have thoughts from Thiru that he has already decided that he wants to play for Klopp. But something that I want to ask you about mismanagement. We've seen mismanagement with the likes of Everton. All right, likes of Davy Klaassen. Maybe even Sigurdsson or Rooney. We've even seen mismanagement with lots of other players. For example, Arsene Wenger himself. All right, you look at the difference between Chamberlain. He went over to Liverpool and he's flourishing. So when we talk about mismanagement, we are talking about Mourinho with Pogba, Rashford. Okay, Rashford maybe yes here and there. Martial, all those kinds of players. So one thing I realized about Klopp and Mourinho is that they are stubborn in the way that they want to play their tactics. But the difference in them is that Klopp brings in players who will suit the system, whereas Mourinho brings in players who will, he wants to change. He brings in superstars and then he changes them to his system. Yeah, so That's the difference that we see between the two of them. But do you think there's any part of mismanagement from Mourinho?
That's not football mismanagement, that's football heritage.
Okay, when you look at these examples given by Davy Clausen and Sigurdsson for Everton, the problem is that they were brought in by a manager and he was sacked, Ronald Koeman. Right, you have another manager, Sam Allardyce, who's very orthodox with his British style of play, so it's not going to work out with them. Right? If you want to look into Mourinho, when he first came to Chelsea from Porto, has the special one, he actually handed out dossiers to each individual player in Chelsea. That this is the system and this is how it works. Right? This is something that happened. So when he has been appointed as manager of Manchester United, which I believe was the boss decision, because Guardiola had gone to Man City and they had to make a decision, and they only had Mourinho to go to. Someone with the same superstar caliber, the same high-end status, to be said. And when you have a player like Pogba, you got to let him free, because when you see him playing for Conte at Juventus, he was pretty much enjoying a free role in midfield with Pirlo and Vidal supporting him. So they were the generals in the midfield, and he was given a free role to do whatever he wants, swing out to the left, swing out to the right. But as we have seen with France, his best position is a left centre midfield, attacking, and he has to be given the opportunity to express himself. That's what Pogba needs. And we saw that at Juventus, and that is what's missing in his United career so far. The second time he's come back after leaving on a free. And what we need is that we need at United a strong defensive midfielder who controls the play, a deep lying playmaker. Carrick is too old right now, and same. We just need someone who does the dictating of the tempo and allow Pogba to be flourishing. This is what we need at United. Yeah, definitely.
One last question I would like to ask. Is Mourinho a good problem?
With the recent contract talks and as issues and PSG being involved and etc., as the media reports, as a United fan, Mourinho was not my choice to be appointed. At the point in time when Hal was being appointed and etc., Jupp Heynckes from Bayern, he was my choice, but unfortunately he retired. And he has just come out of retirement to take over Bayern from the shambles after Ancelotti. He's going to retire again at the end of the season. So Klopp will be someone who I actually looked into to take over United. It is a problem because of Ferguson's success over the 20 years. We have not had changes in the management over time, and something that the club, the players, and the system has been used to. So to take a change and go into transition, it takes time. It's not like how Wenger came into Arsenal, revolutionized English football. Yeah, it was happened within a year, and actually won the double in his first year. So that is not something that's going to happen at United, because there's a legacy left behind by Ferguson. There's a lot of changes to make. Moyes failed because he wanted to impose himself, but unfortunately he was not the shrewd technician. And probably he hadn't had the mentality to manage big-time players, to be fact. And right now I believe Mourinho is having a problem with the team because he has players who play to a different system, who he wants them to be forced into playing into his system. And I think that's a perfect mismatch.
I think what Theo said is 100% true. It's even 200% true, where you say that transition will take time. Me being a Liverpool fan and my fellow Dominic here, alright, we know what transition's all about. Okay, we have gone through it for more than 10 years. And Heikel, my dear friend, you're going through transition now. And Manchester United, you're going through transition as well. So I think the Man U fans have to accept it, that they are actually going through transition. And I know that Mourinho is not nice with the media. The way he spoke yesterday, talking about football heritage, he could have said it in a nicer manner. He could have said it like, yes, the fans are right. We need more time. He could have said it in a nicer way. But he is who he is. He says what he wants. He gets who he wants. Right? He buys and he gets. It's that pride. It's that arrogance he has that makes him who he is and makes him win title. That's Mourinho. To be honest, if you were to ask me before Klopp came in, would I get Mourinho as a Liverpool manager? Yes, I would be thrilled to get Mourinho as a Liverpool manager. Why? Because he wins things. He's the one to get to win you things. So yes, it will take time, but some fans do not have the patience. You gotta wait. Good things take time, right? Just look at Man City. How long have they waited to come this far? You look at Chelsea. How long did Chelsea wait? Alright? A lot of teams, we have waited for so long. Even Liverpool, I've waited for so long. Alright? And so yes, I think United fans have to accept the fact that they are going through a transition and, you know, carry on to wait. Yeah, sure.
So I just want to add something about Mourinho. So there used to be a nickname for Mourinho saying that it's the youth destroyer, because he tends to use teams that has a very strong financial backing. So like what Prabhu said, that Mourinho in Liverpool, I think it will never happen, because Liverpool has ownership where they are quite reluctant on spending. So their project is a long-term project. They want to build Liverpool first financially, in terms of merchandise, in terms of profit, in terms of revenue, stadium capacity. These are all a long-term project. And Mourinho knows this, that a team like Man U is already been established in terms of marketing, in terms of attendance of fans, and the stadium capacity. And he will get the money whenever he wants the money. And he has always done this in all the different teams, especially Chelsea. So when Mourinho comes to a team where Liverpool has one of the, I wouldn't say one of the best, it has a good youth system, not compared to like West Ham or Southampton, and he will not use players. He will tend to buy. He will give you results like what Man City is doing right now. Man City, who even knew Man City? Nobody knew what Man City was before.
Their youth is.
Yeah, so
I think their youth is the best right now.
Yeah, so they are performing really well because they actually invested with a lot of money. They got in a lot of talent, and their squad. Sadly, this is how football works. Money talks, and PSG also did the same thing. Monaco also did the same thing. So I wouldn't see Mourinho in Liverpool. But if you compare Mourinho and Klopp, long-term prospect, Klopp, yes. Mourinho will always leave the team after 3 years. So that is another thing that teams have to look out for. The problem with Man U right now is that they have a lot of people who have personalities bigger than the club. Like as a fan, I would want someone who plays for the club, who puts the club first. So Mourinho has a personality bigger than Manchester United. Ibrahimovic has a personality bigger than Manchester United. Pogba also has a personality bigger than Manchester United, and this will cause them problems.
Big personalities come together, causing big problems. As in
England national team.
yes, of course, the England national team, man. I no words for them as well. Next week we'll be having the international break, so we'll be focusing on the England versus Italy game and the rest of the international games as well. But that's for next week. Alright, so we've come to the end of the Klopp versus Mourinho special section we had for today. Thank you, Thiru. Hope to see you on the show again.
We'll see you again.
Alright. Take care. Definitely. Looking forward to more of your writing, man. Alright, okay. We have one last section. We cannot avoid this section, alright? Every week we do the section. It's the legend versus future legend section. If you're wondering why I'm keep looking over there, it's because my boss is telling me to cut because the time has run out. But we're gonna talk, alright? So legend versus future legend. Okay. Today we are going with Tony freaking Adams against Koscielny.
Tony Adams.
That was a very direct response from Heikel. I think Dom is gonna say the same thing. The reason why we picked Tony Adams and Koscielny is this might be something lame, but yeah. First of all, they wear the same number. But besides that, Tony Adams was a leader, alright, in the squad. And right now in the current Arsenal squad, they lack a leader. The only person who I see being a leader is Koscielny. He does score that winning goals. He also scores that starting goals. He's a goal scorer as well as a very good defender. Of course, there are better defenders than him, but we'll not talk about mismanagement all this. Alright, we just talk about stats. We'll just talk about how good they are. Alright, so Dom, you first.
Okay. So I'm going to give you some stats. So Tony Adams, he was inducted to this English Hall of Fame, and for the league, and he committed 22 years for Arsenal Football Club from the youth to senior football, and he retired at Arsenal Football Club. We don't find players like this anymore. He has 504 appearances made for Arsenal. Koscielny is about 200 plus. He's getting there lah. So he scored 32 goals for Arsenal, and mostly through aerial domination, and he even scores some good crackers lah. So Tony Adams is a captain. If you compare to like Manchester United, someone like Roy Keane, no nonsense footballer, commands the midfield, commands the strikers, commands the defenders, and if you don't play according to him, he is going to screw you up. He's the captain. He leads by example, and they were really phenomenal. During his time as the captain, they had 4 leagues won, league titles, and 3 FA Cups. They had a European Cup Winners' Trophy, and he was also PFA Young Player of the Year. So the only problem is this. Koscielny, his only achievement right now is 3 FA Cups, and that's all. And he's not a commanding centre back, and he's doing his best, but he's too quiet to be leading the team. He's a vice captain right now, so not there yet. Always been Tony Adams for me, so yep.
Alright, so we've got one Tony Adams. We already have another Tony Adams, but let's just listen to what you have to say, okay?
Tony Adams.
That's all.
What do you want me to say? He said, right, Koscielny has only won 3 FA Cups. Tony Adams has already won 3 FA Cups. He's won the league. That's the difference. Koscielny hasn't won the league. Koscielny is supposedly the captain. He's the vice captain. Mertesacker is the captain, but he doesn't lead. I mean, yes, he's won winning goals for us, but Tony Adams commands the team. You don't disrespect the captain, whereas Koscielny is more of a quieter one. I'm not gonna like disrespect Koscielny or anything, but he's been a great player for us, but he wasn't to the same level as Tony Adams. I remember when he first started coming in, he likes to give away corners, and that corner actually led to goal. And my God, those days. One particular one, I knew with this. He collided with Chesney, and then Obafemi Martins scores, and we lost the League Cup in 2011, where we were the favourites against Birmingham. I picked Tony Adams because he is Mr. Arsenal. Like you said, 22 years from the youth academy to becoming actually he was a captain at a young age, and then he retired at Arsenal. Mr. Arsenal, I can't choose any other defender unless he's Campbell. Yeah, he has a statue too. He has a statue.
He has a freaking statue. Yep. So that sums up the case for Tony Adams against Koscielny. Yeah, I think I agree with you guys, right? So Tony Adams as well. Before I move on to wrapping off the show, the reason why Koscielny might not be seen as someone to compare with Tony Adams is
jersey number 6. So.
Is because of the fact that like I said earlier, Arsenal is going through a transition period right now. So yeah, for the past 20 years. Wow. Alright. Yeah, so Arsenal is going through a transition period.
Since 2006.
Yes, alright. True enough, yes. So for the past 12 years, alright. So yes, Arsenal is going through a transition period, and that's the reason why they need someone who's a leader, who's able to lead the team. So if Koscielny can, find it in himself to lead them to glory, be a leader, lose or whether they're losing or they're winning, he's the one to buck out orders, be like Tony Adams, someone he might be able to emulate. Alright, okay. We are going to say goodbye now. We've come to the end of the show.
No Premier League matches much.
Tonight we have FA Cup, Brighton versus Man U. Biggest game for Man United fans and Mourinho as well. He has to win it. If not, he's going to have his head on a chopping board.
Heritage.
Yeah, football heritage. Okay, and so not much EPL games tonight as well. Alright, not many big games as well. So, yeah, this is Da signing off.
Dominic.
That's all, folks.
And goodbye. This is